to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And I am back. It is Sunday morning, and I am once again tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And for right now, you guys just got me. Hopefully, it's been a real busy week, but hopefully you guys will get more than just this. I am just kind of waiting to hear back from some of the guys, and hopefully we can get together and get you a second podcast out as well this week for the gun side of things. And I think me and the Cajun Cowboy will get together later on in the week, hopefully, and we will get you out a preppers / conspiracy type podcast, because there's lots to talk about on both fronts. But I wanted to jump on here because occasionally I'll do a little one by myself. And occasionally it has to do with something I see in my class. And so I just kind of wanted to discuss that. Now, I know that these aren't near as fun when it's just me talking to you or talking to the microphone, I guess. It's not as, you don't have that give and take when there's not another person here. But I'm going to go ahead and do this anyhow, and you can listen if you like. If not, you can wait for the other podcast to come out. I am perfectly fine with that as well. But I just kind of wanted to throw this out there. I guess we can call it a PSA, okay? First of all, I want to say, when I've been doing handgun instruction now for about seven going on 8 years. And I learn as I go, right? I mean, I know how to instruct shooting, handguns, all that stuff. But as far as managing a class, you kind of learn as you go. And I've gotten pretty good at it. And I have set some rules. I have some rules in place as far as what I'll allow in the class, what I won't allow in the class. And unfortunately, somehow, lately I've been really, really busy with classes. No excuses, but I've been really busy with classes. I've had big class after big class after big class, permit class. I'm doing 2 or 3 a month, where I usually only do 1 a month. That's just because the demand is there. And by the way, if I sound a little stuffy, we are just hammered in, just socked in with smoke from all the fires here in Idaho and the fires in California and everywhere else in the West. And smoke is really wreaking havoc with my allergies. But I let something happen yesterday at my class, and I made a mistake is what I did. I made a mistake. Now, this wasn't a mistake like someone got shot or hurt or anything like that. It wasn't necessarily a mistake with a firearm, but I made a mistake. And the more I think about it, the more it kind of bothers me. So typically, when I do my classes, I like to be as easygoing as possible. I like to help people out. I like to make people as comfortable as I possibly can. And sometimes when you have new shooters, they, maybe their spouse, maybe their husband has showed up and has taken the class before. And he wants to encourage his wife to take it. And she wants to take it, but she's nervous or she's unsure. I totally get that. I totally understand that. And what happened, what happened when I first started doing these was the husband would always call and say, hey, look, my wife wants to come take the class. I need to be there. She wants me to be there for like moral support, She doesn't know me, but, as the instructor, but she knows her husband, obviously. And she wants the husband there as moral support. At the beginning, I was okay with that. I was fine with that. If I had the room for it, I was okay with it. I had some incidents happen where, the husbands get a little overbearing, or they try to kind of like take over a little bit. And so I got to the point where I tried to avoid that. And I'd say, hey, look, I don't have the room. It's an insurance thing, because it is. It's an insurance thing. If she can come by herself, that is fine. If she would rather take the classroom portion with everyone else, she could do that and then come back at a different time and take the shooting portion, just me and her, so she's not nervous. and so she can focus on what she's doing. I like to think I've got a real good demeanor and that I can help new shooters out or nervous shooters out and calm them down. And I kind of got a system in place here about how I do that. And it seems to work for the most part. I haven't really had any problems with it. Well, yesterday, sorry, I'm sniffing right into the microphone here. These allergies are nuts. And of course, they're going to manifest themselves as soon as I sit down and start talking into the microphone. But I've been pretty busy with classes on Saturdays. Every day, but mostly Saturdays. My big permit class is just full of people. And there was a person that took a gal that took the class from me yesterday, the permit class, and her husband had taken one recently from me, probably in 3 or 4 months prior. And he had kind of kept into contact with me, and said that he wanted to get his wife signed up for the class. And he's a great guy, great people. She signed up for the class, and yesterday when everyone was showing up for class, and I was kind of busy. I was out in the parking lot kind of greeting everyone, saying hi, and I know we're not supposed to shake hands, but I was shaking hands and talking to people, and I was directing them into the classroom, getting everyone to fill out liability waivers, all that stuff that an instructor has to do before the class actually starts. I was taking text messages and phone calls. People couldn't find the place and giving directions. It's just kind of a typical Saturday, typical Saturday morning before a class type of thing. I'm pretty busy. It's just, until I have some range help come in and help me later on in the day, it's a one-man show. It's pretty much just me. And this woman that signed up for the class, she showed up, and her husband was with her. And, I saw that and I'm like, I wonder why he's here. And, they kind of just said hello and they kind of went into the classroom. I didn't even really think about it after that. Once they disappeared into the classroom, I was good to go, right? I was too busy doing everything else. Well, what had happened was he decided to stick around for the class. And room is I had some room yesterday, so it wasn't that big a deal, I guess. But usually room is having a seat that chairs are at a premium. I mean, I don't have a huge place. I can actually fit 30 to 40 people in my classroom. It's tight, but we can all get in there. But he stuck around, and I guess I just didn't notice it, or I just decided not to say anything about it. I think that's kind of what happened. And I was too busy focused on everyone else and other stuff. Now he sat through the class, and he didn't pay for the class, and that's whatever. It's not a money thing with me. And if you've taken a class from me in the past and you want to come sit through the classroom portion, and I'm not going to charge you for that typically. Just come sit through it. Kind of rehash the knowledge. Kind of up your game a little bit. Go over it. It is what it is, man. I can do that. I understand. That's fine with me as long as you make arrangements to do so. But he showed up, and he sat through the classroom portion. And then we went to lunch, came back, and for the shooting portion, he was going to be, I guess I kind of knew he was probably going to be there for the shooting portion, but like I said, I was too concerned about setting up awnings if I needed to. I was concerned about the weather, getting range guys there, just all that other stuff that, when I do a class, we break for an hour for lunch. I typically don't eat, because as soon as everyone leaves for lunch, I'm setting up the range, hanging up targets, making sure everything looks good. Everyone's where they're supposed to be and that kind of stuff. So I'm going from when I start in the morning at I probably class starts at 8. I'm going from about 6 o'clock in the morning till, after cleanup, everyone leaves till probably, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening sometimes. It's not a problem. It's what I do. I enjoy it. I like it, but I'm busy. I don't really have time to stop and do stuff. So I was busy trying to get everything ready for lunch, or ready while they were at lunch. And they all come back, and we're going to start the shooting portion. And he's still there. I pretty much expected him to be, but I didn't say anything to him, and that's my fault. That's on me, right? That's on me. I didn't say anything. Anyone else in the past who said that they've wanted to stay, can I come support my wife? I'm like, no, I'm sorry, you can't. It's an insurance thing, which it is. It's an insurance thing. I can't have you on the range. You need to stay up in the grass. If you want to be here, you got to stay up on the grass. You can't come down on the range. There's just not a lot of room down there. Got people everywhere. I really need to be concerned about the shooters not the extra people that are just there for support, right? That shouldn't be, I shouldn't have to worry about that. I've got enough on my plate as it is. But he was down there, and he showed up to be moral support. Now, when I think to be moral support, this is what I think of. You're there to tell your wife she did a good job, or whoever you're supporting, tell them they did a good job. Good job, right? You're standing there. You don't go up to the table. You don't help with things. You have paid the money, right? And I know this wasn't done on purpose. That you've paid the money for me to teach. Let me teach. Let me take care of that. Let me help everyone do what they need to do and learn the things that they need to learn. I have a system in place. It's not my first rodeo, right? I know how to do this. But he was down there, and instead of just standing off in the back, this gentleman was running up and helping his wife reload a magazine, reload a revolver, magazine, whatever it was. And it was giving her tips on how to use this, how to use that. We were there. I could help. I've got another range guy there. That's our job. That's our job. That's what I pay this other guy for, not this support guy that showed up. Which I just kind of rolled my eyes a little bit, right? Just kind of rolled my eyes a little bit and just kind of move on, because it is what it is. He was right then and there. He was just kind of talking to his wife, and I still don't think that's right, but he was there. He was doing it. I'm not one to cause a huge scene unless something's going to get totally unsafe. As long as he sticks to his wife, I'm good with that. A little later on, I saw him talking to other people. So we had groups that shoot. Group 1 shoots, then they step back, and then a call for group 2 to go up to the table and they shoot. And as the different groups are changing, he's talking to the other shooters, and he's offering advice and offering suggestions and telling them what to do and how to do this and how to do that. And I'm just scratching my head going, man, you're not an instructor. They didn't pay to get information from you. Okay. You shouldn't even be down here. I'm thinking, don't be doing that. But once again, call me a pushover. I don't think I am, but I'm just like, I don't want to cause a big scene. The mood was pretty good. Everyone was getting along. Everything was flowing well. I didn't want to be the guy to cause a big problem, right? We're almost done with class. We're partially through the shooting portion. I just thought we would just keep going. Well, he just kept going, and he kept offering advice, and he kept trying to tell me. He would actually get to the point of offering other people advice. He'd come up and tell me, well, so-and-so's doing this, and so-and-so's doing that, and this person over here, they're doing that, and you need to tell them to do this, and you need to tell them to do that, and I'm like, whoa, back it up. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. I'm not paying you. You're not hired to do this. I am allowing you to be here. So, that's kind of where I was at. I was getting just a little fed up with everything. And then it got to a point where I was helping another shooter. Another shooter was having some problems. I was adjusting their grip, talking to him about trigger press, all that stuff. Because we had some newer shooters yesterday. And so I was going over all that with them. Well, while we were standing there, the lady's stance wasn't perfect. And I know that a good shooting stance is one of the I guess basic fundamentals. But really, to be honest with you, there's two things that are included in a stance in my mind to make it safe. First of all, you need to have a good solid base, whether that be your feet are spread shoulder width apart or you got one leg in front of the other. That is fine. As long as you got a good solid base and you're not flinging bullets all over the place, I'm good. Another thing I look for is that you're not leaning back, because you have to stay in control of that handgun. You got to be able to control that recoil. And I don't want you leaning back, getting ready to tip over every time you squeeze the trigger of that gun. You need to be leaning into it, get a good aggressive stance. Now, I teach the Weaver stance. I teach the isosceles stance. And then I know there's different hybrids of those, and everyone's got their own type of stance. And I also talk about how everyone's bodies are built differently. We're all made up differently, right? We're all different sizes. Some of us are flexible. Some of us are not. Some of us we've had previous surgeries, so maybe we have pins or bolts or rods, steel rods in our legs or our backs. I mean, stuff happens, right? And so I tell everyone, we're going to try these two stances, and then I'm going to let you either choose one of those or you use what works for you when it comes to shooting stance, because I get people from all walks of life in here, and I can't expect everyone to use the same cookie cutter stance every single time. I can't do that, right? So everyone has kind of their own stance. And if I tell them, as long as it's safe, I'll allow it to be used. And as long as it's not, adversely affecting your shooting, you can use that stance, whatever. But anyhow, that was a long way around to explain what I wanted to explain here. But the gal was right there, and I was helping her with her, not the gal that came with her husband, some other student was right there, and I'm helping them with their grip and their trigger press and everything. She happened to be standing with the opposite leg forward of what she probably should have. But you know what? That worked for her, and it's my class, my rules, and I'm okay with it. And I explain that why in the class. As I'm helping this person with the trigger and her grip, the guy and his wife, the wife walks up there and interrupts me and looks directly at this other student and says, "You need to change your stance. Your stance is all wrong. You need to switch your legs. And I just kind of looked at her. I said, "Her stance is fine. We're working on this right now." And she kind of looked at me and she backed up. Don't interrupt the instructor. When the instructor is giving advice, don't come up and try to, I don't know what was trying to be done there. If someone was trying to show off, if someone genuinely thought they were being a help, well, you're not. If I'm talking to someone, I'm helping someone, don't interrupt. Don't come up there and because then what happens, you have a student being pulled 5 different directions. I teach a certain way. Every instructor teaches a certain way, right? That's why in my classes I have one instructor. I do have other range help, and they do help. But what we do is we split the class up, and they teach basically the same thing I do. They might have a different way to get there, but they have part of the students, and I have part of the students. And as we go along, they stay with their students. I stay with my students. So everyone, they learn the same thing. They just learn it a little differently. So them jumping in there and kind of interrupting me and really kind of confusing the student just wasn't cool, man. It wasn't kosher. That it didn't work for me. You need to learn how to stay in your lane. I'm teaching. They're not paying you for your knowledge. They're paying me for my knowledge. And I know that maybe sounds a little conceited. Maybe it sounds like I'm kind of full of myself, but I don't mean it that way. We can't confuse the student. I've got systems, the ways I teach stuff that are different from a lot of other people. Don't be confusing people. Don't jump in. Don't interrupt me. You're not the instructor. That's just not the way it works. Later on in class, we were getting toward the end, and there's this gal. She was shooting a revolver, and the revolver had a hard rubber grip on it. It was a Ruger, and it was chambered in 9 millimeter. So it was chambered in 9 millimeter. I tell you what, I hate to do this, but we're going to actually take a quick break here because I'm about ready to sneeze because of the smoke, and I don't need to do it on the mic. So we are going to go ahead and take a quick break.
Come get the best firearm training available without the ego at Patriot Defense. You need a teacher, not a drill instructor. Come see why Todd Eccles with Patriot Defense has the longest running firearms instruction business in the Valley. Patriot Defense offers Idaho enhanced firearm permit classes. Contact them today to set up a private or group class at patriotdefense13.com. You can also call or text with any questions or to register at 620-794-6223. That's 794-6223.
Okay, there we are. I'm sorry I had to cut that. I was getting ready to sneeze, and I didn't really want to do that on the microphone. So I got my little commercial in there, so we can play that instead. But okay, so let's back up again. This is a pretty random podcast, but I like to do these whenever they hit me and talk about kind of what I see going on because it may help someone in the future. But anyhow, there was this gal. She was shooting a Ruger revolver, chambered in 9 millimeter. Kind of cool. I'm a 9 millimeter guy. I think that's kind of cool. There were some problems with this revolver, but we won't get into those. We'll get into those on another podcast. But what was going on was it had a kind of a rough spot. It had the Ruger logo, kind of carved into the back of this rubber grip. right up at the top of it, kind of behind where the hammer would be. And it was, the gal was shooting it. She was getting a sore spot right between her thumb and pointer finger, right there, where you'd normally maybe get like a slide bite. She's kind of getting a sore spot because it was starting to rub her pretty raw. She liked to put her thumb up there, and that's how she held it. She didn't want to hold it any other way because I tried. And it was just getting pretty raw. It's just bothering her, starting to rub on her hand a little bit. But she was almost done with her shooting, and everyone was trying to help her, offer suggestions. Now, if you want to look over to the guy shooting next to you, the person shooting next to you, and say, hey, look, you can go buy there's a different set of grips that you can buy for this firearm. I'm all for it, man. Go buy, you can, hey, look, they have different sites. You can buy the firearm. You should look into those. I'm good with that. Talk to your neighbors, have fun, and have a good time, right? I'm cool with it. But when we shoot for the permit class, we shoot 7-round reels. It's obviously a revolver, so she was shooting 5-round reels. And then she was, shooting 2 less than us on every time we shot. So she had some rounds that she had to make up. So at the very end of class, everyone steps back, and those that have to make up rounds, they step forward, and we walk them through, shooting those rounds up so they can meet the requirements for the permit. So she had some rounds that she had to make up. Not a problem. Her hand was getting pretty sore, and I kind of was talking with her, and I said, hey, why don't we tuck our thumbs like this instead of putting them over the back? That might take a little pressure off that sore spot on your hand. And she tried that a couple times, and she goes, no, she had a hard time holding the revolver when she did that. So she wanted to go back to, I said, hey, look, it's 9mm. Nothing says you have to keep using that revolver. Let me grab one of my semi-autos. Why don't you use a semi-auto to finish off your class? And so I offered that up. She didn't want to do that. She wanted to keep using her revolver. She goes, no, I'm fine. Yeah, it's getting sore, but I'll finish it up. It is what it is. I said, okay. She laughed and she joked and she said, I'm going to work on getting it calloused up. Right. I felt bad for her because it was hurting her hand, but it was her gun. It was her choice. I offered up solutions. And so while I am there, walking her through, shooting these rounds, I got that guy hollering from the back and trying to hand me paper towels and all kinds. Have her wrap her grip in this. Have her put this on there. You need to do something for her. You need to do something for her like this. She's getting that sore spot. Okay, don't interrupt me when we're shooting. Don't be shoving stuff at me, telling me what to do. Okay. This woman brought this firearm. She wants to shoot it. She shot it before, maybe not 100 rounds, obviously, but we learn from doing, right? We learn if the firearm we brought is going to work for us. We learn the good points and the bad points. Is it going to work? Is it going to function? Is there going to be drawbacks from using and choosing this firearm? That's what was happening here. I offered up some solutions. I offered up a whole nother 9mm gun. Which would have solved her problem immediately, right? She wanted to keep shooting this gun. So I'm good with it. Don't you come and try to offer up a bunch of suggestions when I am having a private conversation with a student and yelling from the background, hollering from the background on what I need to do and how I need to do it. That does not fly in my class. It does not work. I don't think that's going to fly in any class. And if it was any other class, you probably would have been asked to leave. That doesn't work. Okay, it just does not work. The gal finished shooting her rounds, and she had actually had a couple more to shoot. She took a break for a second and came back and finished them up, and everything was fine. But while she was shooting those rounds, her revolver, and had done this in the past, and I don't know, I think it was, she wasn't using moon clips when she was shooting, which she probably should be, but she was having problems with the rounds were sticking too far out of the cylinder. It might be it was an ammo problem probably. And so what would happen is when she'd squeeze the trigger and the cylinder would advance and turn, it would kind of jam up because the back of the round would be sticking too far out, and it would kind of rub, and her gun would jam up a couple times. And we kind of worked. That's happened before. She'd taken a class from me before. And so we were kind of working through it. I was kind of helping her kind of figure it out, making sure everything was good to go on the gun and it wasn't, nothing bad was going to happen. And as it does it, I hear someone yell from the same group, someone yell from the background, "Heard the timing's off. The timing's off. Why is the timing off?" Okay, first of all, it's not the timing. You're not there. You're standing 4 foot behind me. I don't care what you see. I see what's going on. I said, it's not the timing. And I kind of got a little gruff at that point. And then there was silence after that. You don't need to yell from the wings. I don't care who you are. You don't need to yell from the wings when the instructor is helping a student. Now, you can come up and you can pull the instructor aside, I guess, if you want, and say, hey, look, be constructive, be helpful. Say, hey, look, this happened to me before, or I've seen this happen before. Have you ever thought about doing that? I don't mind that. I do not mind suggestions. You know what? Because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. But don't yell from the background. And don't come up to me and say, so-and-so needs this, so-and-so needs that, so-and-so needs this, and so-and-so needs that done. You need to help them with those things. Don't do that. I'm not going to take to that very kindly. I took to it pretty kindly. I make it sound like I was irritated, yes. I make it sound like I was real gruff and I was mean, and I was not. I guess I want to say yesterday maybe I was kind of a pushover, and I let it happen, right? I let it happen. That's on me. I shouldn't have let it happen. Now, no one was being unsafe. Nothing bad happened that way, but I should not have let him even be there. He just kind of showed up, kind of caught me off guard, and I just kind of went with it, I guess. And the more and more I think about it, the more and more it eats me up. But you may say, well, that wasn't really that bad, Todd. Well, the story doesn't stop there. So we get done shooting, and this guy's wife was shooting a revolver, and he wanted to. I guess she was shooting some lead rounds through it. They weren't jacketed bullets, and he wanted to shoot some regular rounds through it to shoot the lead out of the barrel. He wanted to shoot the lead out of the barrel. First of all, just go home and clean the gun, right? They make lead remover. They make all kinds of stuff. Just go home and clean the gun. He asked me, but he did ask me. I will say he did ask me. He could have just started shooting. He did ask me, can I shoot the lead out of the barrel with a couple rounds? With a cylinder full of bullets, jacketed bullets. I was like, you can, but you need to wait. Because I have other people, they're grabbing guns. I've gone down range. I'm the only one that goes down range. I've grabbed targets. People are grabbing their firearms. They're boxing them back up, loading their shooting bags. They're putting their shooting bags back in their car, and they're coming back up to my classroom so we can do the paperwork. They can pay, so we can finish off class. I can answer questions. I like to be there. My wife comes out and does the paperwork portion of it. I've pre-signed everything. And I like to be in there to shake hands and ask questions or answer questions and stuff, because people they want to talk to me, right? So I try to free myself to be able to do that. And the rule is, as it should be on every range, no one fires a gun on the range until they get my approval, and I am down there. Well, this gentleman asked if he could shoot. I said, no. I said, you can, but you have to wait for me. Everyone needs to be gone, right? Because the range is pretty close to the classroom. So if there's someone walking around, I need to make sure everyone's got hearing protection on and eyes and all that. And you can't fire a gun on my range unless I'm down there. It's just the rules. It's a safety thing. It's an insurance thing. I got things put in place to be safe. I need to be there. I need to know if you've shot around and it missed the berm and it went over it. I need to know if I'm going to get a phone call. I need to be down there in case someone gets hurt. I need to be down there to make sure you keep the gun pointed in a safe direction. And I know it seems really harsh that I've got to be there at all times, but that's the way it needs to be. I am responsible. One mess up could ruin my career or ruin my livelihood, shut my business down, get me sued, lawsuits, all kinds of stuff. And I'm not willing to go through that. I'm there to make sure that stuff doesn't happen. Anyhow, he goes, oh, okay. I'll wait. So that's fine. He was waiting. And now I'm not going to go up and I'm not going to rush through stuff just to come back out so this person can shoot some rounds. I'm just not going to. There's lots of guns I see in class that I want to shoot, right? New guns I've never fired that I haven't seen come through class, and people always ask me, do you want to shoot these guns? Do you want to take a couple rounds, a couple shots with it? And the answer is yes, I do. I want to, but I can't do it till everyone leaves and the class is over. And if that person wants to wait around to let me shoot their guns, that's fine. If they don't, I understand. You can leave. I appreciate the offer. Well, he wanted to shoot his. I wasn't going to be out there for a little while. He goes, well, how long? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I got to go take care of business. I'm still running a class here. So I grabbed everything. I grabbed all my stuff, made sure everyone's cleaning up, made sure everyone knew where to go, and I came up to the classroom to do my portion of the work. of the rest of the class, right? Make sure the paperwork's functioning well, answer questions, all that good stuff. My favorite part of class, because I really like talking with people. And sometimes it takes 15 minutes. Sometimes it takes 20 minutes. Sometimes people want to get out of there and they're gone in 10 minutes. It is what it is. And then I have to do the cleanup. But I came up there and I was, everyone left. And my range range guy was there, James, and he was there, and he came up, he came up and was talking to me. And I said, okay, well, let's go back outside. I think there was someone who wanted to shoot. That guy wanted to shoot some rounds through his wife's revolver to shoot the lead out or whatever. He wants to take a couple shots. And I said I was good with that, but he had to wait for me. And we go outside, and he's nowhere to be found. In fact, there's no cars in the parking lot anymore. And I was telling James about it. And he goes, oh, yeah. He came up to me. He goes, after he asked you on the range, he goes, you walked off, talked to him, and you walked off to go finish doing the class. And he walked up to me and goes, can I just shoot this revolver? And James is like, this is Todd's range. This is Todd's class. You need to go talk to Todd. And he was like, ugh. And then the guy just packed up his stuff and left. And I don't know if he's irritated with me. I don't know. I just don't know. But that's you're asking a lot. You didn't pay for the class. You were down there on the range. I did get the guy to fill out some paperwork. I will say that as far as paperwork for himself since he was on the range. But it's not your class. You weren't paying. Your wife was paying for the class, not you. I had 20 something other students that I had to pay attention to that are paying customers, paying students, and I needed to be there for, right? That I'm responsible for. And that's what I did. And, I want to say this, and I don't know if this guy listens to the podcast, and I didn't use any names or anything like that. And he's a genuinely a nice guy, and I think he just wanted to help. But and so there's no hard feelings. It is what it is. I let it happen. I shouldn't have let it happen in the past. And people have asked if their husbands or boyfriends could come as support and just be at the class. Hey, Todd, I've already taken the class. I want my girlfriend to take the class. I want my wife to take the class. Can I come? I usually say, you know what, you can come for the classroom portion, but I can't have you there for the shooting portion. And I need to stick to that. This one just caught me off guard, and it kind of slipped through the cracks because I was busy taking care of other things. And I'm going to admit it. This one was on me, right? This one was on me. So this one was on me, and I shouldn't have let it get this far, but it did. And I just wanted to throw this, so no hard feelings if you're listening to the podcast, no hard feelings at all. If the guy who I'm talking about listens. But I just also wanted to say that, if you go and take a class, be understanding with the instructor. Don't do stuff like that. And if for some reason your instructor is gracious enough to let you be there to support your wife or your friend or your girlfriend or whatever, right? Stay out of the way. Be nice. Maybe don't go down into the range. Stay away from the range. Sit in the car. Do something. That instructor, he's done this a lot. He knows how to take care of people. He knows how to help new shooters. He knows how to whatever. And if worst case scenario, sign up for a private class. If you get a private class, there's a lot less nerves going on because the person who is nervous, who's unsure, they can show up, they can come to the class. It'll be a private class. There won't be anyone else there, and they can get undivided attention. They can go at their speed, and I speak for all instructors out there. They will make it work. If they're passionate enough about what they do, they will make it work. They will do whatever is necessary to make it easy and make it enjoyable and help that one student learn the best that they can, the best way that they know how. Okay, so there is that too. It may cost you more. Okay. Here it does not necessarily, but I don't charge more. I can break up the class, and I'm willing to help people because that's just what I want to do. But just a PSA out there: let the instructor do their job. Don't try to get in the way. Don't try to offer unsolicited advice. Or if you do it. Take it to the instructor, not the other students. You're not the instructor. You're not certified. You haven't taken the classes. You don't know. And so you should never approach. If you're there to watch or offer support, you should never take it upon yourself to go and help another student. Okay? You need to come to the instructor and do it nice. Don't say so-and-so needs this person needs that, and that person needs that. You need to take care of it. You need to come to the instructor and say, hey, look, I noticed this person is keeping their finger on the trigger. I thought I'd point that out to you. Do what you want with it. I just thought or they're struggling with this, right? I can appreciate that. And I understand that. And that's the best way to get that done. But I don't know, that he probably, those extra people like that who want to offer support, they probably should not be in class, because they just shouldn't be. And like, once again, that was my mistake. And we all learn from our mistakes. We grow from our mistakes, and that's kind of where I'm going to take this. So I appreciate you guys listening to this. I appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. Remember, we are going to try to, I think me and Mark are going to try to get another gun podcast up, I think later on this afternoon. So I don't know when these two will come out. Kind of depends on when I get off my lazy button, get them all released. But hopefully you're going to get 2 gun podcasts this week. And if me and the Cajun Cowboy can work it out, you guys will get one of our other Prepper Conspiracy Theory podcasts later on this week as well. If we can kind of fight through our work schedules and come up with a time that works for the both of us. But until then, thank you for listening to the podcast. If you haven't already subscribed to it, share it with your friends. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. If you got a comment, if you got a just anything, a request, anything like that, you can call me. You can text me, area code 620-794-6223. That's area code 620-794-6223. And no, I have been doing this for quite a while, but I don't work for a big school. I own my own range. I own my own classroom. I do this on my own. So I have my own way of doing things. And if you are another instructor and you listen to this, and maybe you work for a big company, or they got a huge indoor massive facility, or which I do not have that, and that works for you, and you guys do things differently, and you're wondering why I allowed this, I do things a little different here. But you know what? If you got suggestions, if you disagree with me, maybe you disagree with me and you think I'm a jerk, right? Let me know. Maybe if you agree with me, maybe, let me know that too. Call me, shoot me a text about it. If you, I don't know, maybe you have a suggestion for me. I'll take suggestions. That's how people grow. I'm open to that, right? I just, once again, maybe I shouldn't release this episode. I don't want to hurt any feelings, but I just think that something like this needs to get out. I learned from my mistakes, and I think other people need to learn from things as well. So that's kind of why I'm releasing this. But keep listening. Share it with your family. Share it with your friends. I surely appreciate it. And hopefully I will be on here, and you guys will get a couple more episodes this week. Until then, thanks for joining me. Have a good week, and see if you can get out and get some lead downrange. Bye.